Hello. So I'm going to restart what I was doing a few years ago with readings. So it's been a long time. But I'm going to try and get this in and done in about 30 minutes. So this is going to be readings, a weekly reading, but of course now we're starting, it's in Gemini, the lunar eclipse today, and I thought it would be really significant for several reasons, some of which are personal, and some of which really have to do with the fact that, communication-wise, we are starting something visionary. We have the option to start something in a visionary way, or, fulfilling our dreams, which is obviously very visionary. So I'm going to pull a card, a few cards for each sign. I have many different decks. I'll put them in the post below. But since we're in Sag season, we'll start with Sagittarius and go around the zodiac. So this is for this week and most likely related to the eclipse. So it's really going to be an eclipse reading. So for Sag, what's going on with Sag for this eclipse? What's going on with Sag for this eclipse? Okay, so we have the King of Pentacles reversed, the Fool reversed, and the Tower reversed. Feels like there is, of course, the possibility of a new beginning, but maybe a little bit of fear as to how this ends up showing up. Trying to kind of control the outcome. Not feeling necessarily in your element, like you have the resources to do what it is that you want to do, to be able to move on. It's almost like you want to take a risk, or you want to start something new, but feeling like maybe you don't have the resources to start something new, Sag. And so even though it feels like things are, still in upheaval mode almost, you do have the opportunity to, I think the first couple of things that are important are for you to invest in your emotional well-being, to make that a priority right now, because it's hard to focus, it's hard to call in and bring in and manifest, so to speak, what it is that you're seeking, the resources, the people, the experiences, if you don't feel good about yourself, if you don't feel good in the experience that you are right now. And so I think it will be important for you to invest in, your wellness and what makes you feel full and fulfilled. It's interesting, as I say, feeling full and fulfilled. You like the clarification card that I have is fill the well, and it's a clarification on the reversed Fool. And so it's like, why can you not take the risk? Why do you feel like you can't take the risk? It's like, again, it's like you're seeking the resources, but you do have the opportunity to, I think you will need to take more time to reinvigorate, refill, refuel. So it doesn't, it's not like the change isn't going to happen right away. It does feel like there is a little bit of a holding pattern that needs to happen while this increase in vibration, energy, there are things that you probably need to figure out. But I will say in the long run, probably definitely within the next year, but it feels like 13 is significant for your justice to come through. So we're going to move on to Capricorn. Capricorn, let's see. Capricorn, I feel like you may have been maybe having conversations around your pleasure, feeling like you have to make a choice, or you want to make a choice about something, or you're feeling driven to make a choice about something. Could be about a relationship, doesn't have to be, but it's something that's related to your emotions or emotional fulfillment, Capricorn. And it feels like maybe you need to seek some insight or advice or perspective from someone that could be a higher authority or expert on this topic. It's interesting as we talk about offers or, romantic relationships and feeling emotionally fulfilled. I do feel like maybe recently you've had a proposal or an offer presented to you. And I think at present, it's almost like there's a need to sort out a way forward. Decisions need to be made, or maybe at this point you've actually made the decision, because it feels like by way of receiving this proposal or offer or recommendation or validation, it almost like propelled things to go quicker, Capricorn. And so I think with that, it's possible that because you had this offer, it's like getting a new job, and then it's like, okay, now I feel like I have a lot of work to do. Or even if it's like I was proposed to, then you start to like kind of take on the responsibility of the things that need to get done, Cap. And so I do think maybe it was like you taking on more than you had intended to or expected to. And it's something that actually gives you joy and gives you pleasure, but sometimes we can take more on than we intend to because it's something that we enjoy. And it's like, buying, like going, because you love reading, going and buying all the books. I know I'm one of those people. And then you have all of this like kind of like work to do. So, and then at present, I do think that you have a new beginning that's possible. And it's like, anytime we have a start of something that's related to our passion, related to like our inspiration, our drive, our ambition, our excitement and joy, sense of adventure, it's almost, because the other clarifiers that I have are like, perhaps like I feel like there's a beginning that you didn't actually think that you would have to go through. This proposal that happened, I think you thought that it was going to be like the end or the conclusion of something, when it was actually really the beginning. And it almost, I get this sense of like a withdrawal or a need to kind of go within to see what it is that you need to bring into the situation. Just going to get a clarifier for this, because it's the feeling that I get, interestingly, is like you had a great opportunity, something came or was presented to you, and then you received it or took it on, and things started to move very quickly. Reminder, but I think it's almost like buying a house and then getting into the house and being like, oh my gosh, there's not even necessarily so many things wrong, but there are a lot of things that need to be addressed here. And I do feel like you maybe are concerned about someone feeling like they're getting away with something, or there's something that's coming to an end. Yeah. I feel like you're actually moving into a space of perhaps withdrawal. It will be self-imposed isolation. I mean, we are in lockdown in Toronto, but it's more than that. It's a internal withdrawal because you feel like you have no other choice but to go within to figure out what's going on within you. I do think like there's a sense of disappointment, to be honest, maybe related to a partner or a relationship, or related to that offer that you received at the beginning of the reading, or at the beginning of, whatever the situation was. Does feel like maybe it's taking a little bit of a toll, and it feels like there is this full circle completion that's happened for you, Capricorn. And of course, we know with any completion, that means there's also a beginning. So moving on to Aquarius. So for Aquarius, I think you're being asked to make magic with, to transform or transmute situations. Yeah, that may be relationships or attachments that could be represented by corporations, or just a codependency or an attachment. And so, of course, this could be like business, but also relationship-wise. And so for Aquarius, I think probably most recently you've been trying to really decide what your options are, trying to figure out what makes you happy, what brings you joy, maybe also too staying up late at night, trying to reassess. And staying up late at night doesn't mean that it's like a bad thing, but it's almost like maybe you get insights or you receive information at night, but it does feel like you are almost like this feeling of like racking your brain, trying to figure out what the next best step is for you. I do feel like maybe you're feeling burdened, or like there's a lot on your mind or on your heart, particularly related to your inspiration and what it is that you feel like you've taken on, to the point that it's almost started to drain your energy, not intentionally. But I think, in the past, particularly since July, between July and October, Aquarius, I think there's been a lot of this, like, trying to really work within your dream space, whether that's nighttime dream space or daytime dream space of, what do I want? What have I come here to do? What really inspires me? What makes me happy? And really trying to assess this. I think this week you are coming into Aquarius, you're coming into the space of leaving behind something that probably was emotionally fulfilling, because you've come through this space, Aquarius, of like healing, and it's interesting that I have the Temperance card here. I think between May and now, there's really been this need to reconcile old relationships, whether we think of old as past and former, or present and they've expired, their energy has expired. And so it feels like now this week you are being asked to communicate the decisions that you've made, whether you fully disclose how you feel or not. It does feel like you've come to a conclusion around your personal healing journey and the choices that you've come to make around, because this choice feels very much related to your passion, very much related to your pleasure pursuits, and your personal enjoyment, and finding places where you can tap in and, really connect with other people and really feel good and nourished and inspired, and it feels like this place for you, Aquarius, is no longer where that is. It does feel like you are going to be moving. It feels like probably once you make this decision to move away from something that's been traditional, stepping away from something that's had you really stand up for yourself, or having to, it feels like actually because you've had to really express not just who you are, but what it is that you deserve, what it is that you expect, your boundaries. And it's like, the energy that I get is like, I don't want to have to constantly be doing that anymore. I don't want to fight. I really just want to retreat, and not in a way of like withdrawing, but retreat into back to the spaces or into the spaces, like further and beyond. Anything that questions me, anything that intentionally invalidates me. And because of that, it does feel like you, Aquarius, you have this financial offer that comes in almost as a reward from the universe for really establishing and getting clear on clarifying, not just for yourself again, but for everyone, what it is that you want. And coming out of the space of apathy, I think probably particularly for the last 4 months. So now we're in November. That would be, let me just think backwards, July. I think, probably this space of like, no, I don't want to do this, And so now, yeah, you're definitely nice. I will just show you the card. I think you are getting your due, with this Judgment card. I think you are really getting this confirmation of what it is that you have experienced, the purposes for that, and how you're going to be moving forward, So I do know Aquarians have been challenged, particularly in the last little while, as we all have, but Aquarius, I know for sure, as well as Capricorn. And so I'm excited for the changes that are coming for you. So moving on to Pisces. Pisces, the cards under the deck that where I'm shuffling are the Death card and the Ace of Cups. It's possible that you have a new beginning or an opportunity for transformation in a relationship. Pisces, you are wanting to reconcile or move forward and regain momentum in a relationship, in a significant relationship. When we think relationships, of course, we most often think romantic, but it can be friendships, business partners, familial in any sort. I just feel like there's a communication that needs to happen, most likely on your side. And so now, at present, Pisces, it's interesting. I feel like you have an opportunity for partnership because you do have the Two of Cups here. It does feel like it's a balancing of like, how do I make this work? What is required of me financially? How do I get my dreams? How do I get to my dreams? It does feel like an assessment period right now for you, Pisces. And then looking back most recently, it's interesting to talk about Aquarius. I do wonder if you have an Aquarius around you or in your energy, someone that ends up being an inspiring, motivating factor for you. If not, I do think that you probably were seeking this inspiration. Perhaps because there's an invalidation that ended up happening, or an untruth, or you seeking a truth that wasn't revealed or wasn't necessarily freely offered. And so it's almost like I feel like you end up going to seek out your own inspiration, like finding your own truth, finding what lights you up again, Pisces. And so, yeah, it's almost like you end up going on, or you were on a discovery journey around the things that you didn't necessarily know. Could have been related to your faith, creativity, spirituality. But it does feel like there is, or there was this need to find happiness again, find the things that fill you up, because it does feel like for a period of time, perhaps for the last 5 months, 5 weeks, you've really been looking at what hasn't been working instead of almost, and it's not, we all do it, but it's like looking at the truck driving down the street until it goes like out of view, instead of looking up the street to see what's coming down towards you, And then, so moving into the present position, it does look like you are in this reassessment period of like, how do I move forward? What do I want now? How is my home life changing? How do I want it to change? what do I really want at this point in time? Can I make it happen? And what do I feel like there's this nostalgia sense of like wanting to return to something that you had previously, whether that's recently or a long time, many years ago, but it's like a desire to return to a happy time or a happy experience, and maybe even an aspect of yourself that has felt inaccessible. And then so moving forward into the future, it does feel like you're coming out of Pisces. It's nice because you're coming out of this space of like restriction, most likely self-imposed restriction, self-imposed limitation. You could be getting sensual, sexual reinvigoration happening, whether that's solo or with a partner. I do think that there is also a financial aspect of financial and value aspect that comes in for you, because there ends up being this sense of like breaking through this, again, these self-imposed limitations, whether it's actually external limitations as well, no matter, but it does feel like, yeah, there you regain your passion, you regain your sense of excitement for your personal path, for the world, for whatever it is that you come here to do, but for your personal inspiration, it feels really like you have rediscovered self. And yeah, like you're like, okay, what am I going to do with this now? Like now that I've gotten like my juice back, what do I want to create? What do I want to like work on? How do I want to start again? You know, starting again doesn't have to be something that is intimidating. It can be, starting again is very much about creativity and inspiration and, you know, the opportunity to vision and to start something that you've created from your mind, you know? So that's really exciting. So moving on to Aries. Aries, this eclipse season, or this first eclipse anyway, for you, it's like things are starting to move quickly. You may be actually moving. There may be some kind of communications that end up being disappointing, related to a financial person, a financial entity, someone that maybe you have considered a resource, and not in the sense of like using, but in the sense of just whether knowledge, you know, agreements, contractual experiences. But it does feel like there's a renewal. An opportunity for inspiration, and maybe it's because the inspiration comes through this sometimes, you know, we get what comes up is like getting heartbroken, and then that ends up like really cracking you open to be able to move on and to start something new. But you wouldn't have had the confidence, or wouldn't have had the inspiration or the impetus to do that, to elicit that change, if this heartbreak didn't happen almost, or this understanding of like where you sit with certain people. So Aries, I have a call in 15 minutes, so I'll probably have to continue after, but that's fine. So Aries, we'll probably get up to Gemini. So Aries, at present, it's nice because I feel like you are in the space of personal pleasure, and at least feeling like a little bit strengthened, like you've achieved something. It doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't mean that you've reached your pinnacle, but it's this real recognition of the work that you've been doing and the results coming in now. A little bit of like, yay, things are happening. I can see my results. And there's a warning for you not to get a little bit too wild because the results are showing up. But just knowing that, the work is coming to pass, and your fruit is bearing now, because of how strong you've been, because of how, and when I say strong, it's not, sometimes we think of strong and think of it in a way of like being assertive, or it's, so I think, the strength is very much an internal strength. It's something where you've bared, and really worked with your own intuition, instincts, thought patterns, mental health, so much. And it does feel like, yeah, most recently you've come into a space of like, yes, I've got it. I've gotten my due, I've worked hard, and now I'm seeing the results, there is, again, that consciousness of wanting to be cautious, but that's a good thing. I think at present there is this, it's interesting because they're all reversed. It's almost like there's this maybe this holding pattern that ends up coming in, particularly around like moving forward. The one good thing about the card that's reversed is, or one of the cards that's reversed is like the Nine of Wands. And when it's reversed, it's like, okay, finally there's a little bit of relief in the recovery period, the feeling like, I'm tired of this, but also like I don't really have an option but to kind of continue moving on, or my choice is to continue moving on. And so when it's reversed, I feel like you're finally coming out of this space of like, okay, I don't need to hold on as tightly. I can loosen my grip a little bit and ease into the transformation that's coming. What's interesting is that Spirit is definitely leading you into, I think Spirit's definitely been helping you in these last few months, particularly since August. And now with the Death card and the High Priestess, it's like a confirmation of how your life is changing, how you have been following your instincts, how there's more change to come for sure. So continuing to follow, the signs, the synchronicities, the symbols, because the change that's happening for you, or the change that you're eliciting, and seeking is not over yet. There's more to come, but I do feel like a pat on the back for you. So moving forward, there's a lot of clarification around what does make you happy now, or being able to achieve the things that have made you happy, even if it's, been a heavy-handed pursuit. There is a feeling of you standing up for yourself, standing up for what it is that you believe. Maybe this is, standing up against people, not against, but against people that think that they know better than you. Really, I see you at this point and going into the future, having like this, fighting for your happiness. And when I say fighting, I don't mean obviously actively fighting, but it's, an active pursuit to seek out your happiness. Now that it feels like you've created a little bit of space for yourself. And now with this extra space, you can kind of take time and take a step back to think about what it is that you want in the future. So clarifications, yeah, it feels like an opportunity to take a risk. Maybe this is a relationship. No, it actually feels like it is. It could be a relationship, but it actually feels like there is an opportunity for you to start something, maybe a project, a passion project, a business, some kind of inspirationally related material. It feels like a rebirth, actually. Aries, it feels like a rebirth for you, that you're stepping into, by way of the work that you've done for sure, by listening to your instincts, and by standing up for yourself, because it feels like that has been a theme for many people this year, but particularly for you. Okay, so Taurus, we're at 206. So Taurus, let's see what comes out for you, Taurus. What's up for Taurus and this lunar eclipse in Gemini? Yeah, the end of the cycle, for sure. The end of an era. The tables are turning. The wheel is turning. New beginnings. Possible if you want to ask for a raise, maybe you could do that. Maybe that's coming soon. And so, just pull. Okay. And so for you, Taurus, it's like there has been this, I know for a lot of people, most people really, we've been in this holding pattern. I think the majority of people have felt the holding pattern, whereas a minority have felt like things have really moved forward. And for you, Taurus, it's like, you know, recently there has been this feeling of, you know, either feeling stuck or like you haven't been your fully expressive, creative, you know, invigorated self. It feels like you've been more on the defensive than on the offensive. You know, it feels like you're fielding more than you're receiving. Almost like I get this feeling of like a withdrawal or a shielding from other people, other experiences. Maybe it's like you're feeling extra sensitive and so you're being more self-protective, or we're being more self-protective. Yeah, I get this I get this feeling that between January and August, there was this a seeking out of wanting to do things the right way, wanting to do things in a way that is really respectful of everyone's experience, of everyone's resources, pooling resources perhaps as well. The feeling that I get is like you being an advocate for yourself and for other people, and almost feeling like these people don't get it. These people don't get it. And then so moving into the present experience, I see you. The biggest thing that comes through is I see you wanting to take a rest or wanting to take a reprieve or with an actual official withdrawal. Yeah, it's interesting because I get this sense of feeling like your emotions are either weighing you down or restricting you in a way. It feels like there's a need for you to take a rest or to take a withdrawal. It feels like there's a disappointment for you, Taurus, so, to be honest, unfortunately. It's almost like, you know, I wished for something and either I didn't get it or I got it and it's not what I wanted, or I got it and I don't actually like this person. It's almost like I do get this feeling that it's not just an individual, though it could be. It's more this energy of, I don't think this is going to work out. I don't think this is going to work out. And I think maybe there's a disappointment around wanting to feel something that you're not feeling, you know? Yeah. And wondering now about how to move forward and what to do. You know, how do you let this go? Can you let it go? And so maybe I think that's why I feel this a withdrawal or a reservation, really going within ultimately. So going forward into the future, I do think that you are being called away, called to do something different, more expansive, something that's emotionally fulfilling, Taurus. And with I I guess I would say you are being called away towards something, but there's this reminder and this caution to use your thoughts in a way that's constructive, because it does feel like there is a lot of thoughts of wanting to move on, wanting to move forward, but feeling like, yeah, I did that. It's like you can't catch your breath because what this means and what it is that you're going to have to let go of. But there are other opportunities. There are other opportunities for you here. And I do feel like there is one in particular that is going to present you with, an opportunity to move forward, Taurus. And moving forward, I say that, but as I say it, I get this feeling of like, but I don't want to have to move forward. I don't want to have to do this, but if I'm not going to be recognized, then kind of say thank you and move on, So I'm just going to get one last clarifier for you, Taurus. And decide the outcome. So you have the decision now of, the ball's in your court, because ultimately you're the only one that can say whether you feel good in this experience or not, and whether you can say that it's your time to move on or not. So, so thanks everyone for checking in. And I'm going to, after I have my call, I'm going to finish up with Cancer through, because we started with Sagittarius. So Cancer through Scorpio. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. See you soon. And hopefully if you liked or watched your video or want to see the next one, leave a comment, subscribe, like I like you. Anyway, sending you lots of love and blessings. Cheers.